Good evening, everybody. I hope we've had a wonderful week. We're going to be looking at today's price action, wacky and wild price action. Today was one hell of a boxing match between Bulls and Bears, as the Bears try to take control early in the day in A period, taking out the daily balance low, taking out the previous day's low, taking out the daily balance low, and stretching it by just a bit. And then right there, you'll see our IB low. We didn't quite get to our overnight low. If you look on this chart here, our overnight low is 36.4150. Our RTH, or real-time trading hours, or real trading hours, however you want to say it, is 36.5550. So we didn't quite get to that overnight low. We did take out our overnight high at 36.8925. We got that in A period, as we took back, got back inside of our balance range. So all we did was stretch the balance. Today we have an outside day up as we took out the previous day's low and we took out the previous day's high. So that was kind of wild. This whole week has been just an absolute roller coaster of ups and downs. I mean, quite literally down, up, down, up. I mean, this is Six Flags in the market. Um, but it's been pretty wild, to say the least. We had a pretty wide initial balance. Um, just over 70 points was our initial balance. That's a lot of room to trade in, a lot of room. Um, we opened up below our 20-day moving average, popped above it, came back down, held it. We traded through it a few times in C and D period, um, but ultimately we held that, and then we eventually took out the IB high later on in the day in F period. G, and then after, honestly, we started off one time framing up, right? A period, we pushed up off the lows. B period took out A's high, started the one time framing up. We did close back inside of A's range. C stopped the one time framing up. D period began one time framing down. And then we held because we had that 20-day moving average right there and the open. People began to buy in this area, and shorts that were caught short below the balance low were starting to cover here. So we found a bid, we rotated back up, there was no more supply ahead, and then E period stopped the one time framing down by taking out D's high. So then we were just in a pretty large balance as far as time frames go in the intraday, from B's high to D's low. That was one large balance. And then finally in F period, we resumed uh, one time framing up, and then we didn't do anything but one time from frame up all day long. Outside day up, we ended with a triple distribution. Meaning we held two sets of single prints, one small set of single prints. I'm gonna get rid of my initial balance here in a second. I got a lot of lines on here, so bear with me. This is the previous day's high, this red line. We took it out late in the day in J period, um, and then pushed near our balance high. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this high day from previous day. We'll go ahead and get rid of our initial balance, and then get rid of our lows here. Make this initial balance low our low day real quick. Just bear with me. Low of day 10/21. Can't believe this month's already close to being over. It's been absolutely wild. But basically, triple distribution just means we held two sets of single prints. Um, get this a little bit more zoomed in for you guys so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We held a very, I mean, very small set of single prints in I period. Um, H is high to I is low. H's high was 37.41, and then I's low was 37.41.25. So we held it by just a tick, a literal tick. But that is one of our distributions there. So we have a distribution from A's low to H's high. And then we have another distribution, our middle distribution, kind of small, but from H's high to J's high. That's another distribution. So we have one large distribution here. This is all one distribution here. And then from H's high to J's high, that's another distribution. And then we had our final distribution in M period up here. So one, two, three, triple distribution. That's all that means. We held two sets of single prints. Um, so all it was a grind up late in the day. Um, I was pretty involved for the most part. Got chopped up a little bit as I was getting knocked around, but came out pretty much unscathed by the end of the day. Ended up pretty nicely, and basically had a really good week overall. Um, it's just absolutely impressive how we came, took out the balance low just to stretch it, and then come back inside and almost get the balance high. We remain in balance for the week. So bulls are setting up pretty good to come out of balance to the upside on the daily, and then go test our weekly balance high up here at 38.20. I'm also going to label this our weekly. That way we can just keep it in mind. Weekly balance high. That way if we ever do get up there, I know on my intraday chart that that's where that's at. But weekly balance high is up there. So maybe we come in Monday and we gap above this balance high and we go trend up. Who knows? If we open up inside of today's value, then everything that we did today was just a bunch of minutia, and we will continue to trade sideways until we come out of this balance one way or the other. And whenever we do, there's gonna be some steam let out. Like I said, there's a lot of steam being built up in here. Needs to be let out. We had an interesting low in F and in G period. Poor low, that just basically means supply shut off there. There was no more supply. Nobody wanted to sell lower than there. Um, and then we began to rotate back up as there was nothing but bids coming into the market. I'm gonna go ahead and review my trades real quick. Took a short early on in E period. Uh, E period around 1350. I believe we had pushed up. I wasn't expecting us to take out the initial balance high, just because of the way price action was acting early on in the day. So I was comfortable getting short. Um, we also had a pretty large sell tail at the time, so I pushed up in the 1350 area. We were trading, I believe the high at the time in can't speak English. E period was around 15, so I was okay. I would have gotten out on a push higher. So I was short, and value high at the time was also there, and then previous days value high was also around that area. Value did end up overlapping the higher by the end of the day, but that doesn't mean much when we're in balance. Anyway, back to my trade. Took a short, one lot. Um, we had a sell tell in B period, so I was like, okay, we're probably not going to get the initial balance high because we hadn't got the initial balance low. We did sell new low in the day, but at the time, I was kind of a little sketched out by it because we hadn't taken out the initial balance. Buyers had the open at the time. They had taken out the overnight high, and uh, value was pretty much just unchanged at the time. So I was short 1350. We began to rotate down, and I covered for a 3 point gain at 1025. So I was short 37 1350, got out 37.10 down in this range, for a pretty good gain. I took another short back on a push back up at 14. We began to push a little bit higher. I figured I'd add, and then if we pushed up to this was later in E, pretty much near E's close is where I got short on the push back up. So I figured my out would be above B's high if we did push up an F period. So I was short at 14 again. I added an 1850, and then when B opened up, or not B, when F opened up, we had a pretty good spike. Like it just, I mean, quite literally, this little move down hadn't existed yet. We had literally spiked up through the high, and I got stopped out for a nice loss, which kind of sucked. But now we've taken out the IB high, so I figured, all right, maybe and FOMO, I'm not gonna lie, fear of missing out, kind of stepped in a little bit. And it's something I'm battling with, something I'm trying to work on getting better at, not doing. But took the trade anyway. After we had taken out the initial balance high, we pulled back a little bit, and I got long at 25 due to taking out the IB high. We began one time framing up again. Um, I'm trading minis, so remember that's 1 point $50. So we pulled back a little bit, and I stopped out at 21 because I was like, well, maybe that's all they want to do is just pop the IB high and roll over, which is kind of what happened. Um, so after I got stopped out at 21, I decided to go short because I was like, all right, maybe that is all they wanted to do was take out the IB high and then come back down to where POC was. POC is this yellow line here, point of control. So at the time, we're one, two, three, four, we're five wide here. Um, so t often price tends to rotate back down to that point of control, which didn't happen at all throughout the day. But sometimes early on in the day, you can get a pullback to that area. So that's kind of what I was expecting. So I got short at 21. I was kind of thinking, all right, am I chasing? Am I having FOMO? I was like, basically, I'm getting short because we didn't get much extension above the IB high, and we had YPOC below that I wanted to rotate lower to. Uh, and then we rotated down. I believe I was short a three lot at 21. And then as we rotated down, it was in a quick fashion. The 9 EMA on the 5 minute chart was also around that low. So I got out at 17 and 17.25 for a pretty good gain, which put me back up on the day. Actually, yeah, I was short a three lot, got out two at 17, and then the other at 17.25. And then I didn't do anything in G period. Uh, because I didn't know what we were going to do. Kind of chopped around. I wasn't sure as to if we were going to continue the one-time frame up because we had closed back in the ease range. I didn't know if G wanted to rotate over, go get back to POC, and then we just kind of trade in this range. Um, so I didn't know. So I stayed out. If I don't know, stay out. No trade is a trade. Also, is what my mentor says. Um, he's a great guy. Keeps me in line. But no trade is also a trade. So I waited until H period to see what was going to happen. And then in H period, on a push up, I shorted against G's high uh, at 39.25. And I just wanted to scalp real quick. So I was short a two lot. Wanted to scalp it because I didn't know how big the move was going to be to the downside, what was going to happen. So I wanted to make sure I got out as soon as possible. So 39.25 is where I was short a two lot, and then on the push down, I got out at 38. I shorted again later in H period as we rolled over. I was kind of thinking in F, we got back into F's range. I wanted to see how much buyers would give up. And at the time, we had also broke below the 9 EMA on the 5 minute chart. I kind of use that 9 EMA a lot. It's also very correlated to the just a one standard deviation. So I don't know if any of you guys know what that is, but it's a technical indicator. A lot of times price pulls too, um, but 9 EMA is also resemblant of that. So we had broken below that, and I decided to get short 31. And then we got a quick push down, and I scalped out at 28.25. Um, and then I began to short again later in the day in I period against H's high at 39.25. Basically, exactly where I got filled at before. We rotated down quickly, and I got out 37.50. And that's where I called my day at that point because I had gotten up pretty good on the day. up about 10 points after being down a good little bit from the pop and F period. So to have the comeback on the day and end up 10 points with minis, I cannot complain. Remember, each point is $50, so I will take it any day. Um, and then, just the rest was history. We kind of grinded up the rest of the day, which I'm kind of glad I didn't trade in J, K, and L or M because I probably would have been hurt trying to short this market. Um, I tend to do bad when we just grind because I don't trust the pullbacks for longs. MGI, market generator information, seems to be kind of weak. So I didn't know if like it was trusted to buy on pullbacks or what. So I was more comfortable with the short side. Um, and believe it or not, I made more money shorting this market than I did taking longs. I pretty much shorted all day long now that I'm looking at it. Uh, but anyway, let's go to the charts. Let's look at what happened, what to look forward to in the coming week. Let's go to our monthly chart here for the ES. So monthly, we're still down, right? I believe I have a balance set here. Let's see. Balance. Yep. So after being in this 5 month balance and we took it out, right? We took it out last month. The monthly is still down from that 5 month balance. So we stretched or we got below it. We came back into it. Like I said, maybe we close inside last month's range for this month, and then in November we take it out, take this month's high out, and then put the monthly back into a balance. That's a good possibility, as the Santa Claus rally will be coming in. Um, if most of you don't know, it's just a seasonal rally that tends to happen around Christmas time. Let's go to our weekly. We are in a balance on our weekly. I'm calling it a 4 week balance. You can call it a five, whatever you'd like. I'm calling it four. Um, High at 38.20 and then the low at 35.02. So the weekly is in a balance. This area that you're seeing right here is the balance. That's our balance area. So weekly is in a balance. And then now to our daily. You can kind of see what the daily is doing inside that balance. You can see we've done nothing but just kind of trade within this range. Um, Now let's look at our daily balance. This is our daily balance here, our more close knitted balance. Um, this is the daily balance. We can see that we've held our 9 EMA, or our 9 simple moving average, our 20 moving average. The 40 is right near our weekly balance high. So if we come in next week, we take out the daily balance high, the daily will go up, and then we'll go and test that weekly balance high. Then if we take out the weekly balance high, uh, the weekly goes from balance to up. And then from there, we go and test, we go and target the 50-day moving average in this area, right? So maybe we come here. Um, After that, your targets above are I want to say the 180 and the 200. What do I got up there? Oh, 144. I don't use that for anything on the daily. Then the 200 up there. This was that previous balance that we were trading it in, and then we came out of that balance. That's where that last weekly high was. That's what I was saying could possibly be our higher or lower high. Um, we'll see what happens next week if we get up to it and fell, come back down, or do we take it out and then go set up for another lower high in a different area, closer to the 50 or the top of this trend line that I have here, if you can't tell. Or do we come up to this trend line here and have our lower high around this 4,000 level? That would be a pretty big level, the 4,000 level, pretty psychological level to come back into near December or so. We'll have to see. Market will tell us what's going to happen. We just trade it day by day and try to make a little bit of money. Other than that, I hope you ladies and gentlemen all have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you next week. I hope you've been enjoying the videos. If you could, just leave a like, comment, and if you're new, please subscribe. As I'm trying to learn myself, and maybe you can ask me some questions that will help me learn better, or I can either help you learn. Other than that, hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm out of here. Catch you in the next one.